This is the forest primeval, the murmuring pines and the hemlocks, bearded with moss and in garments green, indistinct in the twilight, stand like druids of eld with voices sad and prophetic, stand like harpers hoar with beards that rest on their bosoms. Loud from its rocky caverns, the deep-voiced neighboring ocean speaks, and in accents disconsolate answers the wail of the forest. This is the forest primeval, but where are the hearts that beneath it leap like the roe when he hears in the woodland the voice of the huntsman? Where is the thatched roof village, the home of Acadian farmers, men whose lives glided on like rivers that water the woodlands, darkened by shadows of earth, but reflecting an image of heaven? Waste are those pleasant farms, and the farmers forever departed, scattered like dust and leaves when the mighty blasts of October seize them and whirl them aloft and sprinkle them far o'er the ocean. Naught but tradition remains of the beautiful village of Grand Prix. Ye who believe in affection that hopes and endures and is patient, ye who believe in the beauty and strength of woman's devotion, list to the mournful tradition still sung by the pines of the forest. List to a tale of love in Acadie, home of the happy. Part the first, Canto One. In the Acadian land on the shores of the basin of Minas, distant, secluded, still, the little village of Grand Prix lay in the fruitful valley. Vast meadows stretched to the eastward, giving the village its name and pasture to flocks without number. Dikes, that the hands of the farmers had raised with labor incessant, shut out the turbulent tides, but at stated seasons the floodgates opened and welcomed the sea to wander at will o'er the meadow. West and south there were fields of flax, and orchards and cornfields spreading afar and unfenced o'er the plain, and away to the northward Blomidon rose, in the forests old, and aloft on the mountains sea fogs pitched their tents, and mists from the mighty Atlantic looked on the happy valley, but ne'er from their station descended. There, in the midst of its farms, reposed the Acadian village. Strongly built were the houses with frames of oak and of hemlock, such as the peasants of Normandy built in the reign of the Henrys. Thatched were the roofs, with dormer windows, and gables projecting over the basement below protected and shaded the doorway. There, in the tranquil evenings of summer, when brightly the sunset lighted the village street and gilded the vanes on the chimneys, matrons and maidens sat in snow-white caps and in kirtles scarlet and blue and green, with distaffs spinning the golden flax for the gossiping looms, whose noisy shuttles within doors mingled their sounds with the whir of the wheels and the songs of the maidens. Solemnly down the street came the parish priest, and the children paused in their play to kiss the hand he extended to bless them. Reverent walked he among them, and uprose matrons and maidens, hailing his slow approach with words of affectionate welcome. Then came the laborers home from the field, and serenely the sun sank down to his rest, and twilight prevailed. Anon from the belfry softly the angelus sounded, and over the roofs of the village columns of pale blue smoke like clouds of incense ascending rose from 100 hearths, the homes of peace and contentment. Thus dwelt together in love these simple Acadian farmers, dwelt in the love of God and of man. Alike were they free from fear that reigns with the tyrant and envy the vice of republics. Neither locks had they to their doors nor bars to their windows, but their dwellings were open as day in the hearts of their owners. There, the richest was poor, and the poorest lived in abundance. Somewhat apart from the village and nearer the basin of Minas, Benedict Bellefontaine, the wealthiest farmer of Grand Prix, dwelt on his goodly acres, and with him, directing his household, gentle Evangeline lived, his child and the pride of the village. Stalwart and stately in form was the man of 70 winters. Hardy and hale was he, an oak that is covered in snowflakes. White as the snow were his locks, and his cheeks as brown as the oak leaves. Fair was she to behold, that maiden of 17 summers. Black were her eyes as the berry that grows on the thorn by the wayside. Black, yet how softly they gleamed beneath the brown shade of her tresses. Sweet was her breath as the breath of kine that feed in the meadows. When, in the harvest heat, she bore to the reapers at noontide flagons of home-brewed ale, ah, fair in sooth was the maiden. Fairer was she when on Sunday morn, while the bell from its turret sprinkled with holy sounds the air, like the priest with his hyssop, sprinkles the congregation and scatters blessings upon them. Down the long street she passed, wearing with her chaplet of beads and her missal, wearing her Norman cap with her kirtle of blue and the earrings brought in olden time from France, and since as an heirloom handed down from mother to child through long generation. But a celestial brightness, a more ethereal beauty, shone from her face and encircled her form when, after confession, homeward serenely she walked with God's benediction upon her. When she had passed, it seemed like the ceasing of exquisite music. Strongly builded with rafters of oak, the house of the farmer stood on the side of a cliff commanding the sea. It's the new stuff. Strongly builded with rafters of oak, the house of the farmer stood on the side of a hill commanding the sea. And a shady sycamore grew by the door with a woodbine wreathing around it. Rudely carved was the porch with seats beneath, and a footpath led through an orchard wide and disappeared in the meadow. I thought I had new lines, and I did, and I was doing pretty good. I feel like that was almost the best one yet, even though I had to sort of pause and regroup during the new stuff, and you could tell as I got on which were parts that I have repeated less, which is kind of as it should be, maybe. I mean, not optimally, but you say something more, and the more time you spend with something, the better you're going to be at reciting it. Makes sense. So the question I have for you all, I've started to be able to add more lines on to what I've memorized so that I can recite. Would folks who are watching this and who have made it this far, would you prefer if I go ahead and go back to weekly recitation videos, or would you like me to finish up the reading of the poem itself in 2 canto sections? So to finish up the reading of it and then come back with a recitation video, and then I'll have like a whole bunch more. Maybe all of Canto One will be memorized. So do you want the week by week, or would you rather get the reading so that you can see where the poems go? I mean, I know you could just go read the poem. Yes, we know that. Let's pretend you can't. Anyway, because I know some people are sort of listening to it almost like you'd listen to a podcast. So if you would like those installments, let me know down in the comments below. Or if you would rather to hear the recitation weekly, let me know. And then I'll just post the reading if there's a particular week where I'm tired or I don't do anything quite well or whatever. I'm almost partial to going back to the reading. And so then once the reading's done, I can just come back with this, wow, look how much you memorized. But it will have been like a month and not a week, but it'll still be really impressive because it'll be a whole bunch of lines. Maybe. I don't know. Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for stopping by.